Look, Joe and I are friends, and I truly like Joe. But what is imperative is that we defeat Trump, the most dangerous president in modern history. And that means you're going to have a huge voter turnout. You're going to have to get working people excited. You're going to have to get young people excited. Joe Biden voted and helped lead the effort for the war in Iraq, the most dangerous foreign policy blunder in the modern history of this country. Joe Biden voted for the disastrous trade agreements like NAFTA and permanent normal trade relations with China, which cost us millions of jobs. You think that's going to play well in Michigan or Wisconsin or Pennsylvania? You know, Joe Biden has been on the floor of the Senate talking about the need to cut Social Security or Medicare or Medicaid. Joe Biden pushed a bankruptcy bill, which has caused enormous financial problems for working families. So if we're going to beat Trump, we need turnout. And to get turnout, you need energy and excitement. And I just don't think that that kind of record is going to bring forth the energy that we need to defeat Trump.
So what you just heard there was an interview between Bernie Sanders and Anderson Cooper. And in that interview, Bernie Sanders outlines why Joe Biden may not be able to defeat Donald Trump in the 2020 presidential election. And Bernie hits his note absolutely perfectly here. At the end of the day, this is becoming a two-horse race between Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden. I don't feel Warren or Buttigieg will catch either of them. And so at this stage, it's important that Bernie Sanders really target what Joe Biden's campaign has been premised on, and that's his electability. Joe Biden and his supporters have talked long and hard about how he is the only one who can defeat Donald Trump. He is the one who's a safe choice. He's the pragmatic centrist who will, at the end of the day, rally people in a big anti-Trump moment and restore sanity and dignity to American politics. But Bernie is really perceptive here, and he notes how Joe Biden's record, Joe Biden's legacy as a senator going back decades, is actually the sort of record that is toxic when it comes to driving infrequent voters to the polls. Because his decisions on bankruptcy, on the Iraq war, on social service cuts, on bad trade deals, have all harmed working class people, have all harmed marginalized people, have all harmed the sort of people that infrequently vote. And they won't come out and vote for him at the levels needed to actually defeat Donald Trump. It just won't happen. Those people may not go vote for Trump, but they may just choose to stay home because they see in Biden a very negative type of politics. The politics that hasn't helped them for generations. And that Joe Biden, according to media discourse and according to the Democratic Party establishment, may have the air of electability, but when it comes to driving the millions of people, many of whom stayed home in the 2016 election, they didn't go vote for Clinton, and that's why she lost. If you want those people in 2020, Biden isn't your guy. Bernie Sanders is your guy. And Bernie Sanders sort of notes this here by saying that where Joe Biden has made mistakes, that has marginalized millions of people we need to vote, I've made the right decisions. I fought against anti-worker trade deals. I fought against bad social service cuts. I fought against the Iraq war. I fought to help people when they were facing financial hardship, not make their lives more difficult. On all of these fronts, I've made the right decision where Joe Biden has made the wrong decision. And Joe Biden's legacy, and it's a very rich and detailed one, will be used against him by Donald Trump. And it doesn't matter that Trump is going to be disingenuous about it. It doesn't matter that whatever Biden would do, Trump might do something a little bit worse or a lot worse. That's irrelevant. Trump will use it to demotivate potentially progressive voters, and that will have the same effect as them voting for Trump, because Trump understands that when turnout is low, Republicans win. They win congressional and Senate seats, and they win the presidency. When turnout is high, Democrats win. And so Joe Biden is not the sort of candidate to defeat a Donald Trump. Joe Biden may have some success in winning over moderate voters, but at core, what matters in this sort of election is getting millions of young, racialized, working class, marginalized people to the polls. And if you get them to the polls, you will win. And so I think this clip is really important to share around if you want to explain to people why Bernie Sanders is the electable choice and Joe Biden may not be. Because I think this is the last domino Bernie Sanders needs to push over. I've noted this in other videos. Bernie Sanders has the enthusiasm edge. People love Bernie Sanders and his policies, but right now what's keeping Joe Biden ahead of him is the electability perception. And whether or not it's accurate, that perception is very, very durable. But you can use clips like this to show people a different perspective. That Joe Biden's checkered conservative troubling legacy will demotivate millions, whereas Bernie's rock-solid progressive record is the exact thing needed to get them to the polls.